It's You know this man because each and every Thursday at this time, we get a chance to hook up with the one, the only Lee Sterling, ParamountSports.com. We are in October. That's what it's all about. One of his favorite months of the year. But we're now also about a month and change into the football season. And Lee, I think that's what's even more exciting right now is we're starting to get into conference games in college football. The NFL is about a month old. We're at least getting a little better handle on what to expect on a week-by-week basis.
Yeah, I think you put it well, Steve. There's not going to be many more surprises. We've already seen the Kansases, the TCUs, and the UNLVs of the world. And now they're really going to have to coach the kids up even more if they want to keep winning. So, at least we've seen every team play at least one quality opponent. So I think I've got a pretty good feel. Excited about this weekend.
I think the toughest part of some of the injuries that we've been dealing with in college football, major stars, Bryce Young possibly going to be out this weekend and how that affects Alabama. Quinn Ewers coming back this week for the Red River Shootout, but more than likely Dylan Gabriel will not be back because of the concussion symptoms he suffered last week. Those are the bigger storylines right now. Imagine also, what would Ohio State be like if they had Jackson Smith-Njigba all these weeks and not have to miss him?
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about probably 4 of the top 10, 15 players in the country, and they are that important. Makes it even tougher, too, is the NFL. They don't give you any breaks. It seems like every guy that's dinged up is listed as questionable. So, you're playing a waiting game and a guessing game sometimes, and they're not doing you any favors.
That's very true. Very, very true. All right, let's get things started then with our 5 games this week, and it will be 3 college, 2 pro games. I'm impressed that you stayed away from the Red River Shootout. Instead, we are starting on a game that I'll be honest with you, Lee. If you would have told me that the first game on today's docket is San Jose State and UNLV, I would have said, what are we, back in a time machine to the days when Utep was playing in the WAC with all these schools? But, hey, that's the case. San Jose State is a touchdown favorite over UNLV. Tell me why we picked this one to get things started here today.
Because this game could determine who wins their side of the conference. I mean, whoever thought this would happen? Both teams are much improved, and Chevin Cordero comes over from Hawaii. He has not thrown an interception, 135 pass attempts. They play quality defense. I mean, this is a defense allowing just 15 points per game. So they're well coached. You're not going to hit them up top many big plays. They make you earn it. And just think that UNLV, they're going to be up against it here. So I just think that San Jose State just a solid team and really coming of age. And the UNLV's only played one good defense, and that's Cal, and they only scored 14 points. This is going to be a quality defense they're playing. So let's say they score 17-20. I think San Jose State's going to score 30. I got this game 30-20 Spartans.
You've been doing this a long time.
Yeah.
When was the last time San Jose State was this relevant in football?
A couple of years ago, didn't they go 7-0 regular season?
Was that during 2020, during the COVID year? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before that, probably before I was born.
I was going to say, it's interesting to me how they've turned around that program, because most people thought that when it comes to just relevance in sports, says San Jose State, they haven't really been relevant in basketball, and now, but suddenly they're getting relevant in football, which is really interesting.
Yeah. So give them credit. They're not going to get too many, they're never going to get a 4 or 5 star athlete. It's just not going to happen. But, with the transfer portal, they had the kid a couple years ago from Texas A&M, transfer quarterback, and you can get a backup at a school or a kid that falls out of favor with the new coaching staff, so you can get some quality guys. You just got to work a little harder.
With the NIL now in place and San Jose, California, Silicon Valley, I would think that they could become major players in the NIL market, especially as far as Group of 5 schools go.
Major players, major minors, maybe.
There you go. I don't know.
I just don't think there's the money and the interest that much. It's just not big enough. You know what you need? You need a rogue guy. Like Miami has John Ruiz. John Ruiz just throwing out millions. I heard him interviewed, and he said he's happy with the return he's getting. I mean, happy? The team has done nothing this year. He says he's getting returns. Trust me, he's lying through his teeth.
All right. Now, I've never done a Google search on most prominent San Jose State graduates. I would love to know who they are and the big names. Well, I mean, there's a philanthropist, Donald Lucas, but he died a few years ago. Exactly. You know, I'll be honest with you. Peter Uberoff was like coming up on the list. So yeah, it's not exactly a long list. Right. So that is interesting.
It's not like Michigan, Texas, Harvard, Penn, schools like that. So I'll give you a name. So my wife actually graduated in 1983. The 82 graduating class at the high school where she went, my girls went, Jeff Bezos showed up to the reunion, 40-year reunion.
Oh my gosh. That's a great story in itself.
Yeah. And he actually grew up. He went to Palmetto. His house was 2 houses down from where I live. So
you have any good stories on Bezos?
Yeah, I could have been walking outside and he might have been going to see his old house and I missed it.
Unbelievable. All right. Next game, Louisiana Tech and Utep. La Tech, 2-point favorites at home over the Miners, who are coming off of the back-to-back wins against Boise and Charlotte. Louisiana Tech, it's hard to really figure them out because of who they've played so far this season. Right. How do you decipher this one, Lee?
I think the key is if they can run the football. Whenever Utep runs the football, they're successful. So if they fall behind or they decide they're going to start putting it up a lot, I think that's where they get in trouble. So I'm starting to see the semblance of a running game here, and I think they're facing a team that's not much better than Charlotte. I say keep running the football and then mix in some play action. That's where I think they're at their best. I think the wrong team's favored. I think they're going to win this game here, 30-24.
All right, and that takes us to our third and final college game, Utah and UCLA, a battle of nationally ranked teams in the Pac-12. UCLA is undefeated. They're at home, and they're 4.5-point underdogs against the Utes.
The public is on Utah. They love Utah in this game. They think that the Florida game was a fluke, and since then, they put it all together. They are playing much better football. They're still without their star tight end. I don't think they have any other guys that really scare you catching the football. They obviously have a top-tier running back, but let's look at UCLA. DTR, which has lost every single time to Utah. DTR only played in one of those 4 games. So with Zach Charbonneau at running back, who is a bell cow. He is a workhorse. He loves contact. He loves to carry the ball 25, 30 times. And then also getting Bobo from Duke. Not many teams have a red zone target like him, 6'5". You know, he really wasn't talked about much when he was at Duke because they were just so bad. So smart move by him going to the right team. And I think Utah's defense, they got talent. They just haven't played up to their potential. They're making some stops now. I like UCLA. Wrong team favored. I think they're going to pull the upset here, 34-30.
Lee Sterling with us from ParamountSports.com as we move from college over to the pros. All right, let's begin with a good one, too. Dallas, coming off of 3 straight wins since Cooper Rush has been starting at quarterback. They are going to be visiting a Rams team coming off of a loss on Monday night to the San Francisco 49ers, where they did not look good against that San Francisco defense. That being said, the Rams are 4.5-point favorites against the Cowboys as the schedule suddenly gets tougher for Rushing Company. Give me your thoughts.
So not only didn't they look good, Steve, I think they've got some real problems. And, you know, you'll hear the announcers allude to their offensive line problems. They lost 3 of 5 starters from last year. That's part of it. Matthew Stafford, not the same. Obviously finally came out, had off-season arthroscopic surgery, and he's not the same. And they have no second, third, or fourth receiver. Nothing. I mean, it's amazing how barren they are. Most of their guys that are playing outside of Cup probably wouldn't see the field except for special teams on almost every other team. I'm going to give you another name. They'll never say this. I think Cam Akers is done. Cam Akers, a lot of times when you have a knee injury or you blow your Achilles, the first year, you're not the same after you come back from the injury. The second year, 95% of the time you come back. They have not said a word about this. He has no explosion. He looks slow. So don't be surprised if he's let go at the end of the year. Dallas defense, I love the way they're playing right now. They're playing with an edge, rushing the passer. Their DBs are coming up and making plays. Let's call for another upset. Dallas wins this game 24-20.
Oh my God, that means Cooper Rush. The talk is going to get even crazier.
No, he's not.
in
He's
Dallas.
not. He's. I mean, there'll be some people mention he should stay in, but Dak's much better. Trust me, Dak doesn't have to worry about his position.
That's still Jerry Jones is that's a dream for him if he could possibly go 4-0 with Cooper Rush at quarterback.
No, then he might have to pay Cooper Rush some money. That's not his dream.
That's that's true. That is true.
Yeah.
All right. Wrap it up with the Monday night game. Vegas finally wins their first game of the season. They're 1-3, going up against a Kansas City team that looked awfully good last week against Tampa. They're 3-1. They're home. They're 7-point favorites on Monday night.
And they've absolutely owned the Vegas Raiders. And I think they're going to continue to beat them. They've won 8 of the last 9, covered 7 of the last 9 in this series at Arrowhead. The last two games that they played last year, I think they won 41-14, 48-9, just dominant. I mean, Mahomes threw for almost 700 yards in those 2 games, 7 touchdowns, no interceptions. And I thought that game last week, and I was on Vegas. It was, they played hard. Still, they weren't great. They had that fumble return for a touchdown. That 14-point swing, I think, was the difference in the game, and thought the officiating was terrible. They could have called Vegas, and trust me, I was happy they didn't. They could have called them for another 7-8 holding penalties. Their offensive line has got problems. Both tackles are weak, and I think the biggest difference is their back end on defense isn't good enough to slow down Mahomes. I like Kansas City. Sometimes you got to lay it if you want to play it. Kansas City wins this game here 38-14.
Excellent. Lee, we're in Locktober for you. That's one of your biggest months of the year. Let's talk about that, not to mention game of the week, which is kicking off in about an hour.
Yeah, love this game tonight, Denver and Indy. Think I've got the right side. You want to get it. It's called 800-400-9741. First 10 callers get it for free. 800-400-9741. How much have we been on a roll? Last week, 9-3 for our clients. The week before, 9-2. 2 weeks before that, 8-3 and 6-3. Adds up to a 32-12 run. I don't think anyone has a documented record that can match that. Anyone wants to get involved, 4 weeks through the end of October. We call it Locktober. It's $297. Use coupon code SAVE100, ParamountSports.com. And also a lot of other free pick videos. So, let's say you want to hear my thoughts on the Texas OU game. Alabama. I mean, they're playing Texas A&M, one of the most anticipated games of the year. Everyone's been talking about that. Kansas playing TCU. Check out all those videos, ParamountSports.com.
Terrific stuff, Lee, as always. Appreciate it. We'll look forward to having you back with us again next week.
Okay. Thanks, Steve.